It's dancing. Welcome to some dancing. Yeah, he's. I mean, you know, he's lovely. He's a national treasure and everything. Give him a night out and everything. But yeah, maybe time to just slowly wheel him away onto at least a pre-recorded show. It's the fact that it's live that makes it all the more unnerving. But anyway, yeah. Oh, God bless him. So we have to go to a trial. After that, we'll have some Only Ones. Only Ones, lovers of today. Fantastic tune. Okay, that's pretty much it. I don't know why I said that's so inane. I do apologise. Cut that out. It is the end of the Steve Show. Thank you very much indeed for listening. We have been live on tape, so apologies if you tried to email and text, you couldn't get through. We'll have one more final quote from Rufus. Do it in the voice, please.
Brittany would make a better prostitute than Christina. She's thicker.
Dan, your thoughts?
Oh goodness, that was an actor.
It's a bad impression.
Yeah, that was Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Is this all rock and pop quotes?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, that was rubbish. No, it wasn't.
Kid Rock?
No.
George Bush.
Go on, give us the answer.
Snoop Dogg.
Snoop Dogg. Once again, more words of wisdom from Snoop Dogg. Final choices from web guru Vic Sharma. What have you got for us?
It's Mogwai covering the Pixies' Gouge Away. It's noisy because life is sometimes like that.
Thank you. Stuart McConey's Freakoid Zone is next. Talking Heads, what a way to start the show. Thank you for sending me an angel from the 1978 album More Songs About Buildings and Food. It is the Steve Show, BBC Six Music with me, Steve Merchant, and my gang of cronies here. It's a full house today. I'm very pleased as we approach Christmas. It's nice to get them all here. And we have Harry there in the far corner. He is a banker.
Yes.
Good to see him. We've got very tiny Dan. I can barely see him.
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. And Rufus, of course, super posh, wearing a indoor scarf.
That's how I branded it, Steve. That's how it's going to stay.
Why is it an indoor scarf and not an outdoor one?
A gentleman can wear a ribbed or woolen scarf in the outside environs, but
Yes.
once among friends indoors, he must restrict himself to a shortened scarf of under 5 foot in length and of a Hessian weave of a certain tog value.
Are these rules that you yourself have constructed, or they are something that I would find in a gentleman's manual?
You would find them in one of those...
That's rude, a gentleman's manual. That's the posh name for porno, surely.
It is,
A gentleman's manual.
Yes, an art book.
Yes.
You'd find it in one of those hardback books they try and flog you by the till in
Of course,
well-known
yes.
bookshops. But I also may have made some of it up.
You used the word just as you came in. You said you thought it was rather natty. I imagine that nattiness to nat is something very important to you as a as an upper class guy.
Yeah, I like using words like core, what a swizz.
Sure.
Yeah.
This is whizzer.
That sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. All those old-fashioned words. I'm trying to reclaim them in the way that other, groups reclaim other words.
Sure. Gazooks. Have you ever used that?
Never used that one.
Okay,
no.
maybe you'd like to. And of course we have Sammy here, who I wonder how's she feeling. It was party time for her last night. We should wish happy birthday to Sammy, who's now the ripe old age of 21. 21 years. Little round of applause in the Steve Wright style as we welcome Sammy. And also, yeah, there you are. How do you feel? People often ask, don't they, how do you feel to be 21? I've normally got no answer to that.
Creakier.
Creakier, do you really?
I don't know if it was all the dancing I did last night, and there was a lot of it in poorly made shoes, which immediately went in the bin.
Were they ones that your father had made? had he whittled some
He'd have
clogs
made
for
better
you?
shoes than that, I promise you that. They'd have at least fit. I walked around most of Newcastle and a nightclub in bare feet, in about a centimetre of horrible, dirty, beery water.
Oh, that's horrific.
I really didn't care anymore. But it was alright, I'm a bit delicate. I've had some hours of sleep, I believe 3, something like that.
I really appreciate the fact you've come all the way down from Newcastle on a birthday night, the morning, to come in. I really appreciate it. It's very nice of you.
I'll be
Very
honest,
sweet
I'm
of you.
going shopping tomorrow. It was just on the way.
Really? You're doing it for kind of selfish reasons? Are we paying your train fare? That's outrageous.
Yeah, I worked it well.
You don't drink, though, do you?
No.
So what the hell do you do to celebrate the day?
Well, the theme of my party was sweeties. So
Really?
it was very much a sugar rush last night. I had flying saucers, little chocolate dip things, big refreshers, love hearts, everything, lots of chocolate. It was amazing. The people who were drinking didn't think it was so amazing, but I was going from table to table and stuffing my face. 11 flying saucers in my mouth. I was then trumped by a woman who managed 22.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, we should get her on the show one
That's
week.
a talent.
That's radio gold. I, of course, was not here last week, neither were the rest of us. We were pre-recorded. That was because I was abroad. The Netherlands played host to me. I didn't mention it last week on the pre-recorded show because obviously a lot of our listeners are drug addicts and, former offenders. And I don't like it when... I don't like them knowing that I'm out of the country. I always get a bit, jittery about that.
This is piped into the prisons, isn't it?
Exactly,
every week?
exactly. And so I didn't mention it, but that's where I was. I went to Amsterdam. Never been to Amsterdam before. I don't know if you people have been. It is a very unusual place. I found it very strange. I was reading an article earlier. It was an interview with Jerry Seinfeld, and it didn't have the whole routine, but he's just been promoting his new film in the Netherlands, and it just had a little quote towards the end that just said, he went on stage and immediately said, "What is it about all these bicycles?" You just imagine what a dynamite routine that would have been. I've got very few observations about it, although I was interested because I naturally, as everyone does, when I went through the red light district, just out of interest, just to see, you know, how it works. And what I was surprised by, I don't know if you've noticed this, if you've been through it, but it's how unseedy it is. It's very bright. There's a big lovely canal. It's quite picaresque and picturesque. It's quite bright. There's lots it's not just kind of seedy little men in anoraks. There's older people, there's families.
There's a
wandering
massive
through.
marble statue of a phallus with rotating balls.
Yeah, no, exactly. I agree, and I thought it reminded me a little bit. It was if Disneyland had like a really seedy area. That's how I imagine it would be done. Do you know what I mean? Because there's girls behind this glass and they're doing little dances for you, and as I said, there's lots of people around, and I could, you know, it'd be lovely to have a giant Goofy, you know, trying to pimp
In a bra and knickers?
Yeah,
That's a bit weird.
That'd be really nice.
When we went, there was a woman in a window in lovely underwear, sat, legs slightly ajar, eating a massive burger, mayonnaise on her thigh.
But imagine if it was Mary Poppins.
Oh,
that would have been
that
amazing.
puts a
Doing the
different
ping pong
spin on
trick.
it.
That'd be stunning, wouldn't it? That'd
That would
like
be my childhood
dynamite.
ruined.
That would be absolutely, you know, the Little Mermaid, you know, turning tricks. That would be fun. No, come on, it would be. I don't know. It would be live squid show. What? I don't even know what that means. No, we'll move on because Jude's annoyed that she doesn't want me to. It'd be great. You could have a banner it's Pinocchio. It's not just his nose that's long. That would be brilliant. Come on, Jude. Jude, it would be brilliant. Anyway, so the reason I was in the Netherlands is I briefly went to Amsterdam, but then I went on to The Hague. No, don't worry, my criminal past, war crime past has not caught up with me. I was there for a music literature event that was called Crossing Borders. Very good. So a lot of great bands, including the wonderful Patti Smith. So it's what a great excuse it is to play Because the Night. Patti Smith, of course, Because the Night, co-written with the lovely Bruce Springsteen. I played that because while I was out in the Netherlands, it was my birthday, of course, while I was out there, and a couple of my pals were at this event, bought Crossing Borders, and one of them is my friend Nikita, who's written a debut novel recently, Gifted, which is excellent. I don't want to plug it, but I should, because it's brilliant. And she was doing a sort of Q&A and stuff. Anyway, she got invited to a dinner with Salman Rushdie, and Patti Smith was there as well, and obviously I didn't get invited along. I was furious, naturally. Anyway, they spent the night chatting to Patti and stuff. Anyway, they're in a kind of van inside. It's obviously a classy affair. They're in a van going back to the event, and Patti's in there, and Nikita's husband, he's a little bit drunk, and he says, "Come on, Patti, sing us a song." And she just starts, you know, and Patti, of course, famously a frosty, difficult woman, you know, so obviously sometimes a little bit prickly. She just starts singing Because the Night in the front, right? She just starts singing it a cappella. She's like, I don't normally sing a cappella, you know, I normally have a guitar with me. And anyway, so she's singing it in the car, and then she sort of stops when it gets to the chorus, so they all start just quietly just going, "Because the night belongs," and she's in the front going, "I can hear you." Anyway, so they just had a massive sing-along of Because the Night in the car with Patti Smith.
Did they get Salman to do a turn?
If only Salman, it would have been great doing, I don't know, Fat Bottom Girls or something. It would have been amazing. But so I mean, can you imagine sort of? And then anyway, they said, "Are you going to play it tonight?" Because she was going to do a reading of poetry and play some songs at the event. And she said, "I don't know the chords to Because the Night." So they got this exclusive performance of it, and live on stage when we watched her later. Obviously, she didn't play it, but she did rather bravely. She was reading out various poems and things, some of her own and other stuff that she liked. And at one point, she started reading out the "to be or not to be" speech, which is really quite a tricky thing to try and pull off. But it was really quite magnificent, and she sort of invested it with quite some emotion. I was almost teary-eyed. So there's another string to Patti's bow. But she was brilliant, and obviously I've missed out, and I'm gutted there. I'm sharing someone else's life with you. I don't know if that counts, but there we are. Anyway, Sammy, we have to get music choices from you. We've got a packed show, and we've got to rush. We've got a packed show. Is that what the two Ronnies used to say just before they started doing
Packed programme.
A packed programme, yeah. We've got a packed programme. But first the news. A lorry load of something have crashed on the
Police or something.
something. My favourite was always a hole has been discovered in the wall of a nudist colony. Police are looking into it.
This is it, yeah.
A lorry load of wigs, obviously, shed onto the M4. Police are combing the area.
Police are combing the area. A madman. There's a lot of nudist colony jokes. A madman is terrorising nudist colonies with a meat cleaver. Inspector Johnson has had a tip-off, but he hopes to be back on duty on Monday.
Yeah.
Absolutely
And of course,
Well done.
all the toilets have been stolen from the police station. They're saying they've got nothing to
Got
go on.
nothing to go on, of course. Anyway, in a packed programme, we have lots of music and stuff. Plus, later on, we'll have James King, film reviewer and close personal colleague. He'll be looking back at some of the movies of the year and also looking forward to stuff for next year. But anyway, prior to that, we have got to get a choice of music from you, Sammy.
I've chosen. I was trying to tie something into my party last night, and I thought, see, now I'm officially a lady. Get me, all 21 and a lady
Is
now.
that what makes you a lady?
I believe so. I mean, I'm definitely not demure, and I'm common as muck, so I doubt I'll ever really be a lady. But certainly in age, I think that's what will go on now. So I thought I'd just relive my youth a little with the cheeky Girls, Girls, Girls by Sailor.
The reason I have this mob of people in the studio is not just so they can sycophantically laugh at the occasionally droll things I say, but also to recommend music to me, stuff that that should have been a bigger laugh. Yeah, it was quite droll. No, thanks. Yes, they're here as well to recommend music to me, and that was Sammy.
That was Sailor with Girls, 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 and they are a really good band, and it's worth looking them up if you haven't heard of them before. They've got a few great songs like Champagne and whatnot, so they are worth looking at.
Thank you very much. The message boards have been ablaze by the fact that a couple of weeks back we tried to make the show more culturally upmarket. You may recall we had Matt Thorne, novelist, in. He assessed some books. You were supposed to read them and give us reviews. Only Rufus did it. You can read that on the website. You can also read Harry and Sammy's apologies for why they didn't do their book reviews. Also on the website, bbc.co.uk/something or other. Steve Merchant, is it? Follow the links. Okay, follow links if you wish to bother with that. Anyway, in an effort to continue that cultural climb, we have invited James King, film reviewer. I think he's the only man allowed officially to review films on radios 1 and 6 and 2 and 5 and so on. Anyway, he'll be coming in later talking about films of the past year and also stuff to look out for coming up. And one of the films he will be talking about is this new Bob Dylan biopic. You've obviously heard a lot about it. Kate Blanchett playing Dylan, as is a number of other people, including, I think, Richard Gere. And from the soundtrack, let's hear Calexico and Roger McGuinn of the Byrds playing One More Cup of Coffee. Calexico and Roger McGuinn doing a cover version of one of my favourite Bob Dylan tunes. If you're a Steve fan and you're keeping note of such things, One More Cup of Coffee. I think it's from the Desire album, which is quite magnificent. And yes, they feature, of course, on the soundtrack to this new Bob Dylan film, which we'll be talking about a bit later on. But prior to that, we have to throw over to Tiny Dan and get his musical choice. Dan, I have to say, there's a very tiny shaped Dan hole in my life since you moved out of the flat.
Yes.
We were living there in sin, of course.
Yeah.
And you've since gone. I'm left on my own. It's very cold and bitter.
Yeah. But you must be
how's life going
pleased that there's far less noodly jazz infecting the air in
That's
the house
very
now,
true.
so you'll be pleased about that.
It's great, your room as well. I've just used it as a dumping ground.
Nice.
For everything, you know, all sorts.
Right, everything.
Yeah, I mean, literally everything.
Everything.
You
Well,
go in there to cry sometimes, Steve.
I go in there, I just gently hug his pillow and weep.
to be fair, listeners, it wasn't much different when I was there.
It's true.
I'd be dumped upon and... anyway.
Come on. And so you have a musical choice for us, I assume.
I do, and I feel the tide is turning. I think I'm becoming more popular. I was renowned in the early part of the year for being hated for
Yes.
my musical choices, but, you know...
What evidence is there that you're more popular? I've not seen any.
There's Facebook groups, there's everything now. There's a real buzz on the internet about me.
Really?
A real buzz, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, the tide is turning. You know, I'm coming into fashion in a big way, and I'm going to build on that because I've gone slightly more mainstream this week.
Okay.
This was out about 4 years ago, and David Holmes, you might be aware of, with his sort of soundtracky. And he did a project with a group, the Free Association, which was kind of, you know, a bit of a buzz at the time, but kind of got looked over, and I actually thought they were really good. I bought the album, and I believe this was one of the singles, and it's called Everybody Knows.
Let's hear it. The musical choice of Tiny Dan here on the Steve Show, BBC Six Music with me, Steve Merchant. I have to say, you've been claiming, Dan, that the tide has been turning, and on the basis of that song here in the studio, you've got the thumbs up. Not from me. I thought it was mediocre.
Yeah.
But everyone else here was raving about it.
I know. I mean, I couldn't possibly break through to your level, obviously, but the rest of us drones, we love that sort of thing. It's got all the textbook Dan thing, you know, it's got big drums, it's vaguely, you know, it's got brass stabs in there, it's got a slightly insane woman shrieking over it.
Yeah.
I like